So we're not looking for some rapid change here later on in the month.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Todd. We'll talk next week.
And of course, is Mike Tenori. He's with T-Storm Weather out of Chicago, Illinois. Helps us wrap up this edition of the Closing Market Report. I'm University of Illinois Extension's Todd Gleason. Find us online at willag.org.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Hey, good day to you. Welcome to Town and Country Partners here on the RFD Radio Network. One of our favorite guests of the month is always Frank Butterfield. Frank is director of the Springfield office of Landmarks, Illinois. Hi, Frank.
Hello.
So we're talking on the 2nd, after a huge day for Landmarks, Illinois, your list of the 2019 Most Endangered Historic Places. You released that just yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of our largest programs of the year where we announced the annual Most Endangered Historic Places, where we highlight places threatened by deterioration, demolition, lack of maintenance, insufficient funds. But we're really calling on locals to boost their own advocacy efforts and support each property's eventual preservation.
So, we've talked to you many times about this. I guess I didn't realize this is such a special anniversary for this project.
Yeah, this is our 25th year of the Most Endangered list, and to commemorate that, we've looked back on the list for the past 25 years. We have a website for that. If you just go to our website, landmarks.org/Most Endangered 25, you can find a story from each year of the endangered list, as well as stats about, we've had 242 unique listings on the endangered places list, and 113 of those have been saved from demolition. There's another batch that we're still working on, and some lost, but a pretty significant number saved.
And remind us about the selection process.
It's really community-driven. We're listening, we're working all in communities across the state of Illinois, and we're listening to folks about what they care about and what are the issues that they are wrestling with. So we have a nomination process every year from about December through January, and then we make our selections based on that.
So one of the things I'd like to start with as we pick out some of the highlights of this year's list is something that we've talked about because it's been in the news so much, the Rock Island County Courthouse.
Yeah, this one is a rare one for us in that we put it on the list for the second year in a row. So this is a courthouse from 1895 to 1897 was when it was built. And this one, it's really hits the target of threatened in that there's a demo crane on the lawn right now. But everything's on hold because the Public Building Commission and the county have moved to tear down that courthouse, but have not complied with the state preservation laws. It went so far that Landmarks, Illinois joined 5 other plaintiffs in filing a lawsuit. So that's currently at the appellate court, and demolition's on hold while we figure out next steps there. We're still calling on the county, and we're supported by locals to put the building, market the building for private reuse. There are developers who are interested in the building because of tax credit incentives for it being a historic property. And we would say before you spend money to tear it down, why not look at those private reuse options?
Let's take another one that's interesting to me in Joe Daviess County, St. Mary's School.
Yeah, so if listeners have been to Galena, they know how special of a place Galena is. The majority of the community is in the National Register Historic District, and St. Mary's School is part of that. It dates from the 1860s and has been in private ownership since about the 1970s, and unfortunately has fallen into a significant state of disrepair. It looks like it's the owner's willing to sell it, and the Galena Foundation, our local partner, is really pushing to find a reuse for it. So it would be wonderful to have that building sold and have a significant reinvestment project there. But it does highlight an issue we've been wrestling with in Galena a bit, where these buildings are getting so far gone, some of the private ones, that it really, you have to find a special buyer to fix them up. And so we're trying to advocate for what's sometimes called a demolition by neglect ordinance, where the city has a toolkit that they can prevent these buildings getting that far gone where they need such a significant reinvestment.
Interesting. How about the Millstat Milling and Feed Company?
Yeah, this is one I would encourage folks to go to our website, landmarks.org, and take a look at. There's some lovely photos. I love industrial and agricultural heritage, and this is one where it's a mill dating from the 1850s, and the grain elevator was added around 1880, and it's been in operation ever since. It's still a working mill. There's been new owners who have are committed to the mill, but unfortunately it was declared a public nuisance by the village last December, and there was some discussion about why and is the building sound, and they were given 6 months until June of this year to come up with an engineering assessment to show what needs to be done to the building to fix it up. So we're helping them with that. Sometimes these buildings look a little rough, but are built quite soundly, so we're hoping that is the case with the Millstat Mill.
So hopefully you'll keep us up to speed on that. That would be an interesting story to follow between now and summer.
Yeah, that one will be moving quickly. I mean, hopefully there's a long-term project ahead for the mill, and they would love to get some public access because the interior of it is really spectacular. But we got to get through the first hurdle to not have the building condemned.
We're talking to Frank Butterfield on this Thursday. He is the director of the Springfield office of Landmarks, Illinois. We're talking about the just-released list of the most endangered historic places for the year 2019. Also on this list, the Ray House in Schuyler County.
Yeah, the Ray House is another older building, 1850s, and it really it's a wonderful sort of Gothic revival and Victorian designed architecture house, but it does have a lot of fame locally in that Abraham Lincoln spoke there during the 1858 senatorial campaign. And, I work with a lot of historic places across the state, and sometimes there's, my uncle's aunt's cousin said that Lincoln once stopped here, whereas this one has definitive Lincoln was there. He spoke from the second floor. It's in the newspaper back in 1858. But the building is in rough shape today. It's just suffered from a lot of deterioration and some water infiltration. But what's wonderful is a local group has formed, the Schuyler County Architecture Foundation, and they are raising funds to save it, and they'll have office space and public space to go into that. And they just formed, and they have a new website. It's thescaf.org. And you can link to them off of our website, and really a wonderful chance to save this important part of Schuyler County's architectural legacy.
2.5 minutes remain, and we have 2 more properties to discuss.
Yeah, the one that's getting a lot of attention here in central Illinois and across the state is the Greek housing at the University of Illinois, the fraternities and sororities. And it's a complex problem because we have these wonderful, historic, over 100-year-old homes, but they're suffering from, what students want. They want the highest modern amenities, and a lot of these buildings need a reinvestment. Some of them have been zoned for high-rises, and then recently the property tax, the land value, has been assessed at a very high value, particularly because a lot of these are being torn down for high-rise apartment buildings. And so we're just seeing an increase in demolition of these historic homes, these fraternities and sororities. So we're advocating for maybe a new survey, and working with the city to find a toolkit to prevent this growing teardown trend in Champaign-Urbana.
Enough time to talk about one more, and that's in Winnebago County.
Yeah, Rockford. There's been a lot of attention at the Chancery and Piety Hill properties. These are the former the Chancery and Bishop's residence, and the Catholic Church, the Catholic Diocese, is the owner of these properties, and they're looking to tear them down, potentially for a parking lot. But there are developers who are interested in these properties to rehab them and reopen them. And so what we're calling on is to explore those reuse options before we default for demolition. So a lot of public support for that project.
You gave out a website earlier because this is, as you mentioned, the 25th anniversary of this list of most endangered historic places. So where do you send our listeners, to find out more about these properties?
Yeah, the best place to go is just our website, landmarks.org. There we have our current most endangered list. We have the 25th anniversary, and then we have, all of our other programs and ways we are helping to save places across the state of Illinois. So the best place is just www.landmarks.org.
Now that this list is published and released yesterday, now what? What's on your agenda, Frank?
We get to work. There's a lot of work to be done on these properties now that we're public, that we are focusing our organizational resources on trying to find preservation solutions. So in Millstadt, we got to work on an engineering assessment, and like I said, a Greek housing, maybe a survey. So there's a lot of work to be done, and as you see from the 25th anniversary, we've done a lot of work in the past, and we'll have more in the future.
Frank Butterfield, Director of the Springfield Office of Landmarks, Illinois. Thank you, Frank, for the work that you and your group do for Illinois. We're going to take a break and come back with more Town and Country Partners.
Are you preparing for planting season? We don't mean to be a pest, but here's a few things you need to know before you grow. The Illinois Department of Agriculture now requires special local needs labels, including new restrictions for the use of herbicide dicamba on top of soybeans in Illinois for the 2019 growing season. Did you know these additional restrictions go beyond federally approved labels? Remember, the label is the law. To find out more about these Illinois-specific labels, visit ilfb.org/label-aware.
Be it through headlines, microphones, or tweets, Mike Orso connects rural routes for you. Mike has been covering farm and food issues for more than 3 decades. Whether it's print, video, radio, or feeding your online appetite, Mike keeps you in the loop. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
I keep our communities, state, and country in mind with everything I do. My job allows me to work toward this mission with farmers and other rural Illinoisans.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
With another farm, family, or food-related Illinois destination and event you, your family, and friends might enjoy, I'm Mike Orso with RFD Town and Country Partners. 'Tis the season for morel mushroom hunting across our state. And if you like to hunt, or maybe just like to eat them, there's a festival this weekend that's just for you. Our RFD Radio Network colleague, Jim Taylor, asks the Mushroom Festival organizer the essential question.
Why in the world does there need to be a festival honoring the morel mushroom?
Because it's the best mushroom in the world, and they're all over the state of Illinois. And they're here now.
Duke Frisbee has helped organize and lead the Stark County Morel Mushroom Festival over the last decade.
Well, if you love morels, this is the place to come because we're going to have all kinds of them. A couple of years ago, we had over 100 pounds of morels, and they're fantastic.
The 11th annual festival starts Saturday at 9 a.m. in the Stark County seat of Toulon in northwest Illinois. In addition to street vendors, the so-called Mushroom King, Tom Weifert, plans to take part.
Been in Toulon for the last 3 years, and this year we're going to have it there again. And we're also going to have a guy coming in from St. Joe, Missouri. He's bringing mushrooms with him, and he's going to fry those up. You can purchase those also. And plus, every year we've had a morel mushroom soup, which is fantastic. We hardly ever have any of that left over, and if we do have any of that left over, somebody gets it later on.
The Stark County Morel Mushroom Festival will also include a mushroom auction. Frisbee explains how it will work.
In half-pound bags, you can be a buyer or you can be a seller, and everybody's allowed to sell all the mushrooms they have, but we only allow you to sell 8 half-pound bags, 4 pounds total in 8 bags. And whatever the bid is, that's how much you get for, if the guy wants 1 bag, he can take 1 bag, or if he wants all 8 bags, or however many they want, they can take.
The wet, cool spring has been a good year thus far for morel mushroom enthusiasts that pick the morsels in the wild.
The morels are fantastic. You know, they're one of a kind. That's why they're so popular. And they're only going to be around for about 3 weeks, generally how long it lasts. You can come over and you can get you some morels, take them home, fry them up, and enjoy. That's basically what it's all about, is having a good time and enjoying some morel mushrooms.
The Stark County Morel Mushroom Festival takes place this Saturday starting at 9 a.m. in Toulon, with the mushroom auction starting at 1 in the afternoon. For more information, check out the festival's Facebook page. For RFD Town and Country Partners, I'm Mike Orso.
Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and Delosh Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
If you're in the mood for some sprucing up, you're in luck. From big to small or farm to front yard, your Illinois Farm Bureau member discount from John Deere is ready and waiting to help. It's easy to think green when it's the Rewards Loyalty Program with savings on equipment, special parts, and home and workshop products. Whether your tasks involve mowing, planting, or cleaning, you'll be set for whatever your work requires. All you need to do is sign up, have your membership number handy, and go to johndeere.com/Farm Bureau.
We're back here on Town and Country Partners on a Thursday. We talked morel mushrooms. Now we'll talk pork. What a great combination maybe that the two would make for Mother's Day weekend. Jenny Jackson is at the Illinois Pork Producers Office in Springfield. Hey, Jenny.
Hello. I was just listening to all that morel talk, and it makes my mouth water.
Yeah, so they're growing up in Morgan County. Did you enjoy hunting for mushrooms?
I enjoyed it, but we were never that successful. So to hear that they have a whole festival about it is quite astounding.
Yes, I'm going to put it on my list of maybes for this weekend. So tell us about some recipe ideas for Mother's Day, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yes, it's only a little over a week away till Mother's Day, and why not invite your mom over and have a cookout? We are in May, which is National Barbecue Month, and by barbecue I mean the noun explaining how to cook it on the grill, not necessarily barbecue sauce. So there's all kinds of different cuts of pork to grill on the barbecue, or maybe a smoker is more your style. You could do something as simple as kebabs. Those are my personal favorite. I like to buy either a whole or a half loin, and I'll chunk it up and then put it in the marinade overnight, cut up some vegetables, and put it on skewers the next day and grill it. That's super easy. Pork is really versatile, and it really absorbs flavor well. So anything you can do to marinate it is really going to excel it to the next level.
So on the marinade, what's your marinade of choice?
I like one. It's actually called Hawaiian. It has soy sauce and pineapple juice in it and some garlic cloves. It's really simple, but it's really tasty, too.
I like that. So you do that, and then maybe a couple of other ideas. If folks want to do maybe instead of the smaller chunks, they can do a bigger pork chops or a pork steak.
Yes, pork steak's really underutilized in my opinion. If you do it right and marinate it and put it on the smoker, it'll taste just like a beef steak. It'll get really tender and juicy, and it's just the same size or bigger. You could always go with boneless pork chops or bone-in pork chops. Use the seasoning of your choice. At the pork patio, we use Riley's seasoning on our chop on a stick. And then for all other items, we have a custom spice that we use, which you can buy here in our office if you're interested.
Nice. Now, I think it's been a while since you and I talked on this program, but I know that you guys handed out a ton of samples of pork, ground pork, at the Food Products Expo earlier this spring in Springfield. So that ground pork, that's hard to beat, too.
Correct. It's a county fair favorite to have pork burgers, or in Morgan County, as we call them, porky burgers. They are just so full of flavor. It's essentially a hamburger, but it's made with ground pork instead. And like I mentioned, we use this custom spice on it that has a barbecue flavor to it, and it's really, really tasty. That's something simple. Kids love it. If you want to do something a little bit more, you could grill a tenderloin or a loin and even wrap it in bacon.
Can't beat that, ever.
Right. And if you want the juiciest cut of meat, I highly suggest that you grill it to 145 and take it off the grill. That's for whole muscle cuts only. If you're dealing with ground pork, you still have to cook that to 160.
So we're talking about Mother's Day weekend and ideas for recipes. Now, I see on Facebook, now you have 3 sisters, right?
I do.
And so on Mother's Day, do you guys cook for your mother, or what will be you guys doing in the Jackson household on Mother's Day?
We usually get together with all the Jackson family, so my dad's 2 siblings and all of their daughters and sons and even my grandparents, and we'll have some kind of cooked meal. We usually grill out since it's nice outside, and weather determining if the men make it or not. They might be in the field, or we pray they're in the field this time.
Right, for sure. So where do you send folks? So you've shared a few great ideas for grilling, etc. Where do you send folks for more recipe ideas?
The honey hole of all pork recipes is found at yumly.com/pork. That's YUMMLY.com/pork. That's where National Pork Board has all of their recipes logged, plus other contributors from chefs around the world. So there's a lot of diversity in flavors there.
Now, you said honey hole, and one of my favorite people that I watch that uses that term is Mike Wolf from American Pickers.
Maybe that's where I get it. I watch that show a lot.
I love that honey hole. The honey hole of all recipe websites. Give that one more time.
Yumly.com/pork.
Nice. All right. So just about a minute and a half left here. We talked about what's coming up in May. We hope folks definitely can get in the field and get busy. But anything else for the summer? You mentioned pork patio, and I know that you guys really have to start getting those plans in place and getting your summer help lined out before long.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. It's never too soon to start thinking about State Fair because it's such a big part of our organization. The State Fair this year is August 8th through the 18th. That's a Thursday through Sunday. We are always looking for volunteer groups or individuals, if you're interested, to work at the pork patio. We do half-day shifts, so someone would cover essentially the lunch hour, and then the others would do the afternoon through the supper shift. So if you are interested, get a hold of us here at the office. Specifically, Mike Borgic is going to do the scheduling. But if you're interested, just call our number and we'll hook you up.
You are also so busy. I thought of you just the other day. Our topic here was Collegiate Farm Bureau, and one of your first leadership roles at the state level really was with Collegiate Farm Bureau, and you led the Western Illinois University Club.
I did. That was such a good experience. It started off with an internship there at the IFC home office in the MSPR division, which led to starting Collegiate Farm Bureau. At the time, Western was only the 3rd in the state. And now, goodness, I don't think I can count them all on 2 hands.
Right. Well, good start. We appreciate your continued service to the ag industry. Jenny Jackson, Illinois Pork Producers, thanks for being a part of today's Town and Country Partners.
Thank you for